Dom, it's the year of the nerd, man.
The year of the nerd, bro.
We're back again. Two Detroit nerds coming at you live. Another great episode this week at the end of March here. It's been beautiful, Dom. How you been?
It has. I've been good, bro. Everything's checking out. It's the year of the nerd. I feel alive.
Yeah, I mean, we have to celebrate. I don't think our listeners understand. Like, if you're a nerd, if you like anime, video games, music, anything cool people talk about, be proud. Listen to this show. Tell other people, yo, I'm a fucking nerd and I love it.
I'm a nerd and I'm proud.
This is the year of the nerd, guys.
Let's go.
Let's do it. So, speaking of nerd shit, speaking of cool shit,
yeah.
Frieren.
Yes.
Talk to me about it. We talked about it last week, but some new things have happened.
The talked about show, the one that should be on everybody's list. You guys, we have some crazy news that just recently came out about the title at hand, Frieren. If any of you guys are followers of my anime list, which I know some of you probably are, some of you aren't, something crazy came across me the other day that I felt we needed to touch upon.
Yeah.
Frieren just beat Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood on their list of highest rated anime of all time. Now, to some of you may not care about that. It may mean shit to you. To me, speak something about this show. This is a newer title, just came out recently. To dethrone a show like Brotherhood really speaks volumes about this. We could be seeing a monumental giant just break out right in front of our eyes. I think we already are seeing it, honestly.
I think it's an appropriate time to call it, right? I mean, if you dethrone FMA Brotherhood off of my anime list, and just to break it down for people that maybe don't understand how my anime list works, it's a review aggregator, right? So there's tons of people over the course of many, many years reviewing, giving their own personal review and their own 1 to 10 star rating of particular animes, right? They have the bio of the anime and then all the reviews. If you've been on that, website for more than 5 years, FMA Brotherhood has never changed as the number one slot.
Never.
That means that the aggregated review base for that anime is so strong. There's so many good ratings for it that titles like Attack on Titan, titles that Gintama, titles like Naruto, Steins Gate, they're all 2, 3, 4, 5. FMA has always been number one. So to have an anime that's one season in, just came out, and is already getting this flurry of good reviews, I mean, what can you call it but the rise of a new AAA title?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a case of like a hype train and a following, right? Because we've seen that happen already. We've seen shows like Demon Slayer, like Jujutsu Kaisen. These are shows that do that kind of thing. But this is a different case. I mean, even those shows, if I'm not mistaken, I just recently scrolled it before we started, and those weren't even in the top 10.
Right.
You know what I mean? And those are the shows that, at least online within the media, you see the most hype and news about. Greatest animation I've seen. Best. I myself, season 2 of Jujutsu. I was like, this is one of the best seasons of anime I've seen. I would have thought I'd seen that title shoot up on those.
Right.
It didn't.
Right. It's because of that aggregation of reviews.
Yes.
It's going to have so many people reviewing it that unless it's getting tons and tons of uninterrupted good reviews, it will go down in the rankings. So that just says something about Frieren must be so incredible that it's staying at the top, at the top, at the number one spot.
Not just top 10, bro. We're literally number one.
This is crazy.
They have a numerical value that shows the rating. Mm-hmm. Brotherhood was at 9.09. Frieren was at 9.39. I didn't break it down to see the analytics to see how much of a difference that makes. Yeah. But if we're going from 1 to 10, 9.3, 9.3 in this case is a lot.
It's a lot.
For a show that's been out, I mean, Brotherhood's been out since I think 2007 or 2008. So we're talking 16 years ago that show has had this amount of time to bring in all these types of reviews, all these comments, these ratings to that number.
Yeah.
Now compare that to a show that just recently came out, and it's, again, I know it could have that hype train, that following that comes with these new titles. Something that's new, fresh, and good obviously would garnish a lot of reviews, but let's be honest here, you guys. We seen the great get dethroned. Mm-hmm. I think it's time to move out the way and get a new great in here.
Yeah,
it's about time.
I think something's happening.
Yes.
I think the universe has answered our call. I think from what you've told me about Frieren, I still haven't gotten a chance to see it, but from what you've told me, it definitely sounds like it's doing something new, or it's trying to do something new. And what's so crazy, you just said it earlier, you would expect a Jujutsu Kaisen to be in that at least top 5, top 10, right? So if you're seeing an anime that is more recent than Jujutsu Kaisen, has much better ratings on super critical websites like My Anime List, it's kind of like the sky's the limit. It's kind of like we should maybe stop talking about some of these other animes and start talking more about Frieren.
Put focus there.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like to me. I think a lot of these animes are about to get, kind of forgotten in the wind.
Or this might be what was needed in the anime community. Maybe this is going to be the title that makes everything else step up because, although it's early, I'm not hearing any stories about like these grueling conditions that the studio was in. I'm not hearing about bad things happening in the workplace. Like all that stuff, none of that's come with it. Of course, later on it could come out. Of course, they're not going to focus on that for now because of how great this show is. Right. But we'll see in due time. I mean, hopefully that doesn't come out, but I'm all for it. I'm only on the side of Frieren for now, you guys. It is easily, I don't care if it's early to say, it deserves the rating plus more. It is that good. Damn. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. It just does everything an anime could do so well in the best ways possible.
So, because to dethrone something like FMA, right, is to almost say, to give people an equivalent who aren't like big anime fans, but have to be listening to our show. It's, I don't want to say Star Wars, right, but I want to almost say like a big iconic title that's almost the defining title of that genre, right? Like, how Star Wars is kind of, as far as blockbuster sci-fi goes, it's sort of a benchmark, Star Wars, right? Yeah. FMA is a benchmark in anime. It's like, this is shonen. You want shonen FMA, right? To just be dethroned like that when you are that much of a fixture in the sort of conversation about anime is a huge, huge moment.
It is, bro.
That's not something that you do from paying for ads. That's not something you do off fake hype. There's a genuine rush to love Frieren. So my question to you, Dom, who's somebody who's seen it, what do you think it is? Why do people love Frieren so much?
It has this kind of theme that would almost bring you back, like a sense of being familiar with kind of how the world is and the setting is, right? Maybe even kind of how the story starts off. But from episode 1, it changes that narrative. Now we're talking, this won't give anything away. This is literally said in the first episode.
Right.
It starts with them, Frieren and her crew, already having been defeated the big bad of the show, the final enemy that most shows work their way up to, that final fight.
Right.
That's already done. This is a story about the aftermath of that happening and everything that follows, their actions and the choice that they made. But outside of that, it's more so just the animation and the story so far. I'm not finished with season 1. The story is just so well put together in the best way. It has all those ideas that we get from these new shows, right? Because me and you've talked about this. The pacing of these new shows is what's perfect nowadays. Being fans of the golden age, obviously that's most people's, there's the problem with a lot of these old shows that, it takes Dragon Ball. Yeah, you got 5-6 episodes for a fight. This doesn't do that. But at the same time, you get that sense of the old style. The animation almost kind of screams that with today's technology, if you will. Yeah. It's very free flowing. You look like there's a lot of attention to detail in this show. Like even in small areas where it's not needed, it's there for those people that are looking for that. Right. Outside of that, man, very likable characters within the first 14 episodes I've watched. I think I'm on. Yeah, 14. You get to see a huge deal of character development that is much needed. One of my favorite things about it that I want to talk to other people about that have seen this is the display of power that they show Frieren have in a specific fight. I won't say when, I won't say who she's fighting, nothing of the sort, but all these shows do that, right? You see like new power up, but what I like is that a lot of shows don't always do is how they depict that person's power level or energy level, if you will. Like something that'll almost give you chills to watch because it makes you feel like you're the person witnessing that really in real time.
Right.
They do that very well, and I was so happy. I knew it was coming in the episode. I knew because they kind of build up to it happening, because there's a certain little ability or technique that says, this against this, whoever's is stronger, this will happen, and it's coming. But the way that they do it, they did it so well, man, and I love it.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot from you because you've seen a lot of anime that you were able to kind of know what was going on, but you were still satisfied.
Yeah, man,
with the outcome. I think that's one of the hardest things to do with people like us who've seen a lot of anime media in general. is like, you start to notice that there's a format,
Yeah.
there's a formula, but if something is adhering to that formula and still surprising you, that shows you it's just that good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, no, and it was making me think as you were talking about, what was that anime that I was talking about a couple episodes ago that I was saying I was really getting into, but I kind of started to, I almost finished the series. It's about a guy who is like about to be executed.
Oh, Hell's Paradise.
Hell's Paradise. So, I've had some time to reflect on Hell's Paradise, and I honestly think, to your point about how the pacing of newer shows is really why you go and watch new anime at this point.
Yeah.
Because when you do get a good new anime, it's much better than the old shows.
For sure.
In sort of getting to the point. I think Hell's Paradise did that for about 4 episodes, and then when they get stuck on that island, it just goes nowhere.
It changed
for like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And I really took the gas out of that show. And what I guess from hearing with Frieren is it doesn't make that mistake.
No, like although it is a slower start compared to things that, I prefer.
Yeah.
It did not turn me off from it. I don't know if it was maybe the couple of reviews and comments I had read at the time from my boy Ron specifically. He was telling me like he even thought I wouldn't have liked the show because of how it plays out with the first 5-6 episodes, like we talked about last time.
Right.
Most shows, if it takes me 5 to 6 episodes to really get some kind of interest with this genre of anime, I'm kind of like, they're taking too long. Why haven't I seen anything interesting yet? This ain't for me,
Yeah, right.
For some reason, this didn't do that. I don't know what it was. I truly and honestly cannot say what it was. And once you do get to that point, it's just that much better for you because you're not expecting it. You're not anticipating impatiently what's going to come. You're just letting it play out the way that the story should be taken in. And I think they do that the best way because there's not much explanation needed behind it. They don't need to go into all these little specific details and this is this. They give you everything as you're seeing it when you want to see it, and they perfectly execute it. I haven't seen many shows do it better, honestly.
Yeah. Would you say that for like our listeners that might be not too big of anime fans, is this the kind of show that you can only get into if you're already an anime fan, or is it a?
Oh no. This specifically amongst newer titles, I would say this would be one of the best examples of something to get you into anime because it's not too dark and gritty. Like, your Jujutsu Kaisen, your Attack on Titan is for like a newcomer. If I went and told somebody brand new to anime, go watch Attack on Titan, they're going to think I'm a serial killer.
Yeah, or it's just too intense to like be the show that gets you into an entirely new genre. Right. So you're saying Frieren has that sort of ease of watch that allows to see. That's a hard fucking thing to do, man. And people don't realize, like, yes, there's tons of great anime and great shows in general. Even outside of the realm of anime, this kind of applies to all shows. Like, it's one thing to just have a great show, but it's another thing to have a great show that's easily accessible to all people.
Yes.
That's fucking hard.
Especially the hardcore fans, right?
Right.
Because in most cases, these guys are like, oh, this is something I've already seen.
Right.
But it doesn't feel like that with this at all.
Wow.
And I'm here for it. You guys, Frieren easily anime of the year. You can come fight me on that. Go watch it for yourself. Go look at what the fuck it's already done. Come fight me on it, please. I will invite you guys to come do that because I'm ready to argue this for days and days.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that. Watch out for it. It brings me to another point. Something we've discussed recently. In the talks about this Frieren talk.
Yeah.
We got another example of what Adam and I like to call a bad kind of nerd.
Yes.
Okay? If you guys don't know, there is a difference. There is a good kind of nerd and a bad kind of nerd. And I'm going to explain to you guys just what a bad kind of nerd is. So, we put out a TikTok of my first summary and explanation of Frieren. And we got mostly good reviews on the TikTok,
Right.
One really caught my attention, though. The good reviews we always love to see. All reviews we like to see. Don't get me wrong. But this one in specific caught my attention. Don't remember the username. Said something along the lines of, this has been the #1 rated show on other things, and it's the brand new show. Of course, people are going to say, oh, where did this come from? All these things. Guy basically told me to get my head out of my ass and stop watching shonen.
Well, I think it was something more to the effect of, this is in the top 5 of all of the Crunchyroll most popular. You need to expand your horizons, dude. There's better stuff out there than shonen, dude.
Let me say something to you guys, okay? First and foremost, don't shit on what somebody else thinks is good for whatever reason you may think it is not good, okay? Because first, if I just watched this or read something, right, and you read it last year, the year before, you got to it before me and feel like because of your knowledge of it, you see it everywhere that you're looking. That doesn't happen for me. That's the first point I want to make. If I'm watching something later than you, don't shit on me for the time that I'm watching it. Second,
you didn't win a medal just because you saw it first. It doesn't make you intellectually superior at all because of your early access to information. That means zero. That means absolutely nothing
at all. Second thing I want to bring up, specifically because we're talking about anime, what's wrong with a shonen? Let's be honest here. Would we have majority of the shows out we do now if it wasn't for shonen? That's what I want to ask.
No, and it gets to this point of pretentiousness, right? Where like in order to be respected as a actual fan of something, you're supposed to only be interested in things that are very obscure, hard to find, which is really the sign that you're talking to the bad kind of nerd.
Yes.
And in Maryland, we had a term for this: BK, bad kid. Mm-hmm. You're bad. Like if you're playing COD and you go 5 and 24, and it's what's that one map? Not Shipment. What's the one?
Rust.
Right, you're on Rust. You went 5 and 24. You got shit on at the end of the lobby when you're about to sign out of the game. Everybody be like, "You're a BK. You're bad.
Yeah.
You're literally a random." That is the best way to refer to a bad nerd, but we just use bad nerd as to refer to the concept in general. But you should be referring to these people as BKs, bad kids, randoms, Scranton mares. There's a lot of different words we used to use for them, but these people are typically characterized as, instead of sharing information with you, which is what a good nerd is supposed to be. It's really, a good nerd is characterized by being a moral and ethical purveyor of good information to people, whether it's media, music, science, whatever. You're that nexus point, right?
Yes.
And a good kind of nerd is really just gonna want to involve you in something cool and interesting, and they're gonna respect wherever you started on that journey.
Like they couldn't wait for new people to find out about this.
Exactly. They're complementary to your already prior interest in something, right?
Yeah.
The bad kind of nerd is characterized as someone who is going to criticize you for your lack of information that they might have, right? So if I was a bad kind of nerd in cinema, right, and Dom was like, I really like that Batman movie, and I was like, well, did you see Louis Malle's Batman in 1977? Like, those are the kinds of people you want to put a shotgun behind their head and just sort of see what happens when a shotgun is used.
Just push it up against their head a little bit with your finger close to the trigger.
Kind of do a science experiment, sort of a mechanical, technical experiment where you pull the firing pin of a shotgun behind a human head. But that's typically how you want to respond to it, and the reason why you get that visceral feeling to do that is because it's like the antithesis to how information should be shared between humans, right? Like if we were stranded on an island, right, and I was like, man, I don't know if we should eat those berries. And you're like, well, if you knew anything about blueberries, you'd know that I'd beat you over the head with a rock and kill you immediately. It's bad. It evolutionarily does not work
ever.
In the hunter gatherer days, we would have to share information.
If I'm over here fishing, found a fresh source of water, and I know how to identify that, then you're like skin and bones, like, bro, I need to eat. I haven't eaten in days, and I'm like, well, I found out how to do it. Why haven't you found out? Let's shy away from that. You know what I mean? Let's not do that anymore, especially within the anime community, because we know how things started out being a fan of anime. This was not an easy thing for most people to talk about amongst others because it wasn't well accepted. And to get back to the original thesis, third thing that you cannot do, which will identify you as a bad nerd, is don't be hypocritical within your responses to other anime people. This same person, after giving me this little runaround of why I shouldn't be saying what I was saying about Frieren, the person was kind enough to offer suggestions as to what is a good anime in their eyes. Now, keep in mind, you guys, he said, we got to get rid of shonen, stop watching only shonen, stop giving reviews about that. The dude went on to name me about close to 20, I think, maybe about 15 different titles. You guys, 80% of the titles he named were not only shonen that Adam and I have both already seen probably at least 2 times over. So how does that really make sense with the original response to go into that? It makes no sense to me.
This is the signature of a bad nerd. This is a BK. Listen, guys, a lot of the time when people are gatekeepers like this, they don't even have anything behind the gate. That's like 90% of it.
Yeah.
I'd be so much more like willing to accept that kind of behavior if he showed us 10 animes that we'd never heard of that were like super hard. They were only in Japanese. We had to find like a, auto-generated, what's it called? Dub or caption sub thing of it. Yeah, I'd be like, yo, this dude's
he knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. But you're showing us stuff that we could have found on a 5-minute search of best animes right now.
Yeah.
Like,
easily.
You're bad.
You're bad, bro. Like, I would have caught more flack for naming one of the titles he offered as opposed to Frieren. Notice he was the only one in the comment section as well. So, hey, true. It sucks for you, man, but you are now branded as a bad nerd. Okay, we're going to get a brand made that literally says BN.
Yeah.
And so all these people, we come across you, you're going to get a brand right on the forehead. So people know to stay clear of you. We cannot have you running around freely on these streets giving these bad takes.
Here's what we're going to do, actually. We're anytime we get comments like this from now on and it's just bad nerd shit, we're literally just going to put alert, bad nerd, alert, bad nerd, and we're just going to have our fans like that comment. We're not going to respond to you. We're not going to get in the back and forth, just bad nerd. You've been labeled. You are now exiled. The conversation's over.
You are gone now. Yeah. You are shunned from the internet.
You've been
at least the nerd section of the internet. Yes. You're out of there.
You're done. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny seeing some of these comments. And by the way, shouts out. I'm going to do a quick shout out to some of the places that have been listening to us.
Yes.
New York. Shouts out to my people out in New York. Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Shout out Mason, Ohio. Shout out. Where else do we got?
Flat
Rock, Michigan. Yo, shout out. Yo, whoever's in Flat Rock, message us.
Yeah, you guys reveal yourselves to us at least.
I've never been to Flat Rock. Just somebody tell me who you are.
We had a couple out in Cali.
We got some California people. Truckee, California. San Diego, California. We love you. Riverside, California. We love you.
What were the international places that we seen? Was London one?
We had London. We had Belgium. We had France. I got a couple people out there that might be them. So, listen, we're international guys. Getting a lot of hits on the East Coast, Midwest. I want to see some more people in the Pacific Northwest. Where my Washington State people at, yo? Where my Idaho people at? Where my Montana people at? Let's go.
Get out here. We know y'all love anime over there and nerd shit and cool shit that only cool people like. So
seriously,
get out here.
Just listen to us, interact with us. We're always looking for.
We're friendly over here, okay? Exactly. Don't be this person on the receiving end of what we just gave a review of. You guys, come talk to us because you might end up next, or you could get on the good side of reviews.
Yeah, or I like to believe most of our listener base are just good nerds that just want to share cool information. They want to listen to other people talk about cool information so they can learn it. Just regular stand-up guys. But,
yes.
In case. You're thinking about going to the dark side and you want to start telling people about an anime you've never seen before so you can sound cool at the, next Discord invite you're brought into. Think about us for a second.
Yeah.
Think about what we're talking about right now.
Yes.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that. So,
yeah.
One other thing I want to touch on, bro. We are coming to the end of Solo Leveling.
Yeah. Tell me about how that experience has been going, because...
It's been going great, man, and I'm so glad that I read it as soon as I did and as close as I did to the release of the anime, because it was done in like the perfect pattern. Because I've been on this weird little pattern of reading these things and then the anime is like soon to drop.
Right.
So it's almost better in that case, because certain things that I've read fully and then watched, depending on the release dates, you kind of forget things, right? For Solo Leveling, of course I wouldn't forget, because Solo Leveling is short but done perfectly, I think. The animation is just that next step, as we've talked about before. I'm such a fan of reading, but reading to watching is almost the perfect segue into the experience, because it's alive now.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's been given life. You get the voicing, you get the actual movement in the anime, you get to see all the color palettes they chose. Although manhwa already is in color, it still looks better when it's animated, right? Yeah. Fight me on it, whoever you are, but come do that. But yeah, we're finally coming to the end of it, which is March 30th is the airing of the last episode. And you guys, my fans of Solo Leveling, my fans who have already read it, we are finally going to get that first Arise on screen, and it's going to be huge. I think it is. People that don't know about this, be ready, because that first Arise, you're going to become very familiar with it from here on out. On March 30th, be on the lookout for it. Everybody tune into that, fan or not a fan.
So what's
Check it
the
out.
Arise? What's the first Arise?
The Arise is the first showcasing to Sung Jin-woo's power, and probably the most important piece of his power you are going to see from here till close to the end. I would say close to the end. There is one other thing that I would say trumps that, but the Arise is. You want me to tell you?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Okay, so his power is basically he can, after he defeats enemies, he can revive them in a sense, but they become a shadow puppet, I think they're called, or shadow warrior, something along those lines. And they basically become a part of his undead army.
Okay. Yeah.
It is now that enemy that he's fought, but under full control of Sung Jin-woo.
Right.
And of course, it follows video game standards. If he's only so strong, he can't make these certain beings arise, as you will. But oh man, without getting too far into it, the beings that he gets to do that, I'm telling you, my man's becomes a force to be reckoned with, bro. Manhwas seem to have this tendency of just having super OP main characters that a lot of manga and anime don't have, but Sung Jin-woo's a heavy hitter, bro.
So at this point in the show, I mean, I guess because it's almost over, I'm sure you could talk about like what the, I guess, quality of like the fights and action in a manhwa compared to an anime shonen that would be of similar quality. How does compare?
It stacks up very high compared to anime fights. Now, I don't know if me and you talked about this. Maybe I talked about this with my boys, but I've been telling people to stay on the lookout for the wave of manhwa that are about to start just flooding in to getting anime adaptations, because if I'm not mistaken, there's only been 3, at least big ones. There's only been 3 so far. That's Tower of God, God of High School, and now Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling was the perfect standpoint for the rest to now come in, because this is probably like the most popular one, if you will, outside of Tower of God, I would say.
Yeah.
In the manhwa sense, it's definitely like the most. It's like the I don't want to give it the wrong. It's like the Naruto, I would say, of manhwa would be Solo Leveling. It's like the first one to take off out of the big 3 as much as it did, and really garnish the amount of fans that come with that.
Right.
So that's what I would give Solo Leveling. But to get back to your question, the fight scenes are awesome, bro. I mean, when you think about this is still fresh for manhwa, right? This is still new. But they get to start with a template of where anime already is right now.
Yeah.
In terms of quality and production. So they couldn't have came at a better time, and they do all the fights so well. Like, it's almost in the best way like a shot for shot remake of what appears in the manhwa to this, because it's in color. So there's not a lot to be left out, but they don't leave anything out. Anything else added, they did add one thing that I'm such a fan of. Fortunately, as all you people that are going to watch this have already known, we did lose a GOAT in the anime community, Akira Toriyama. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Possibly the reason why anime is what it is today in the Western world, let's be honest.
Has to be.
I wouldn't give that to anybody else. He for sure takes that. But they took a 1-week break on the release of the episode. Some people said the voice actor had COVID. If that's the case, I respect them for taking the week off just to make sure everything went the way it would. But my little take on it is the passing of Akira Toriyama, and I have some facts to back this up. In the episode, this does not happen in the manhwa. So, Sung Jin-woo was fighting against this assassin hunter, and he's like ranks above him. He's like way stronger, has a crazy ability that not many people get. All these things. Sung Jin-woo starts to like power up and warm up. He's like finally getting ready to fight the guy after trying not to fight him to show people his actual power, because he doesn't want anybody to know. He warms up with Goku's warm-up stance in the Broly movie and in other happenings of Dragon Ball. It's like the hopping back and forth, like motherfuckers ready to scrap when he starts doing this.
Yeah, right.
And it was just so perfect, because I don't think anything else did that. Like, they definitely paid homage in other ways, but as soon as anybody that watched that episode seen that, they were like, bro, is that the Goku? Like, hold on. They were pausing it, rewind. Like, I got to run that shit back from the start. So big respect to the creator of Solo Leveling, the anime, because that's one of the best ways to pay homage to another creator, another anime, another manga all the such. It's awesome.
I think all the big shonens should do something to just show
Yeah.
like their respect for that incredible legacy that creator left behind.
They did in other ways.
Yeah, and I'm sure they have, but that's incredibly cool that Solo Leveling, which isn't even in the anime world, it's a totally different type of art form, still saw, hey, we wouldn't even be doing this if it wasn't for Akira Toriyama. That's really cool.
It is, man.
That's awesome.
It is.
So, I mean, I guess we might as well talk a little bit about Akira Toriyama's work.
We should.
Because, again, there are probably people who listen to this who aren't big anime fans. They might be listening to us for music or video games. So, just to provide some context, like Akira Toriyama, if you've ever heard of anything called Dragon Ball or
or Dragon Ball Z.
Or Dragon Ball Z, that was the creator behind that. And I mean, think about a world where Dragon Ball Z doesn't exist. I mean,
it's hard to, man.
There would have been a nuclear war. We would have gone to war in some sort of nuclear exchange, like if it had not been for Dragon Ball Z.
Take a look at the timeline of what would have happened with and without Dragon Ball. The world would have been ended like 20 years ago by now. Let's be real.
We would be, fighting with irradiated dogs over, the last meat at a, hollowed out Costco. Somewhere outside of Moab.
A raw steak at that, still on the bone.
Yeah, somewhere outside of Moab, Utah, and you're on the run. Mm-hmm. That's where we'd all be if it wasn't for Akira Toriyama.
And for those who don't know, he's obviously credited usually and almost always with his anime, but he actually had his hand in a lot of other things that people don't know about. He was the main character design behind the game Chrono Trigger, which is regarded as one of, if not the best RPG, which came out years ago. Yeah. He was also the lead behind the character design in a game called Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
He has other anime touches as well. He's got an anime it's a Dragon Quest anime, The Adventures That Die. If you watch it, you'll see all the hints and notes of Dragon Ball in there. Yeah. No. Big time. You know what I mean?
I've seen Dragon Quest artwork.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
it's
this
like
is Dragon
the same.
Ball. Yeah.
It's literally Dragon Ball. He's got for those that don't know, 2 big video game releases coming out under Akira Toriyama. The first is a game called Sandland. Again, you go see how this game is designed. There's no doubt his hand was like hugely impacted by this. He was just boom, 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 boom. Here's all my characters. Here's the world. Looks pretty cool. It's a game about you're a character. You control like machinery, technology. You're in like a desert wasteland of a world. All this other shit. I don't know too much about it, but on top of that, we are finally getting what all Dragon Ball Z fans have been asking for over 15 years now, and that would be Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. For you guys,
that?
Oh man, you haven't seen anything about this?
No, what's Sparking Zero?
Oh my god, dude! Did you ever play any of the Budokai or the Tenkaichi Budokai games growing up?
I played Budokai 3.
Okay, was that not the best anime game ever at the time? Easily, without a doubt.
I still think about that game.
Me too.
Yeah.
So
Dragon Ball Z Budokai, yeah, absolutely.
After the Budokai series, they came out with the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which was the next best thing we got to Budokai. It had the Budokai elements, but it was opened up a little bit more. Much higher character roster, different maps. They really they really did themselves out with that.
Yeah.
They did a good thing with it.
Yeah.
After that, we only got the Xenoverse entries, Kakarot, Burst Limit, Raging Blast, all these other games. They weren't necessarily bad games, but they really didn't hold a light to the others that were really talked about as being their greats.
Right.
Sparking Zero finally is taking its roots back and going to that.
To the Budokai.
To the Budokai style of fighting, the huge character rosters. They released
used to have so many.
And we're getting like the niggas in Dragon Ball you would never even think about fighting with. The little minions you would see that maybe gave their names out a couple of times throughout the series. They're in this. You can fight them full abilities. This isn't like a copy and paste where some fighters just have 3 of the same characters skin swap and they fight the same. And no. They each have their own fighting style, own power set, like all these different things. And I cannot wait, bro. I cannot wait for this because I've been waiting so long.
When is it
this year? I want to say, was it around June? I don't want to be wrong about this. Let me just look it up for you guys real quick because I need everybody to know this.
We should probably try to set up our first Let's Play of
that. Yes, bro. Stream. I cannot wait for that, because I was actually talking to CJ and the freestyle anime guys, and I told them boys in that Discord, none of them want the smoke when this comes out.
Oh no, I mean, low key, Dom. I honestly believe that you could probably beat most people at most fighting games. So
I can't wait. Oh, so we don't have an exact date. It's Q4 of this year, which I'm okay. Listen, you guys, in terms of video game production, I don't know how y'all feel. I'm happy with no confirmed release date early. I see a lot of people get mad at that, and I don't know why. Because of the state that video games are in currently, it's like
they need as much time as they can possibly.
If you tell me today this game comes out in 6 years, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, take your time.
Take 7.
Yeah, actually, just for good measure, take another year.
Another year off. Go ahead. Go ahead. We need everything. We need everything right, bro. We need every last little detail touched upon. Just because, like, I can't keep getting these fucking half-made games. That's what they feel like, bro.
I can't handle spending $80 again and being disappointed. I just can't.
Oh man.
Like when EA announces their next Battlefield, I want them to say it's not coming out for 25 years. I'll be so happy. Yo, you have no idea how excited I am.
Playing this shit, bro.
Yo,
finally, like you ever see those videos of that old ex-veteran of I think the military playing Battlefield?
Yeah, who's sniping?
Like insane shots he's hitting.
Yeah,
that's gonna be you and I on that Battlefield.
Easily.
You're gonna call me up from the nursing home. Dom, they let me play my Xbox today. You want to get on the new Battlefield?
I got points to take my Xbox out, and they're letting me play the new Battlefield.
I got a 2-hour playtime. They're giving me this because I've had very good behavior here for the last 40 years. No,
Esperanza said I can play my Xbox today. But
you're just fucking schizophrenic with a controller in your hand staring at the wall like, Dom, I got him.
They just put a piece of paper up that just says Xbox,
it's got a drawing of a gun.
Straight up.
Oh my god.
But no, awesome. I mean, I totally agree with you. We need to let these people take their time. I don't want to see another presentation at not CES. What was it called? What's the big
E3?
E3. I don't want to see any more presentation. You know what? Let's close down E3.
They did.
Did they? I think they did.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
There's no more. There is no more of that.
Why did my voice
crack? It's okay, bro. We're excited about this. That's why. It's okay.
It's terrible. That was awful.
But yeah, they did away with that, and I didn't read too much into that, but I don't know why they did that.
So I saw that it was something about how post-COVID they couldn't get their numbers back up, like for in-person people to come fast enough to justify continuing to like book venues. Because these are events, right, that take like 2 years to plan ahead of time.
Yes.
So I think after COVID, they just kind of looked at the numbers and were just basically like, we're not going to make enough money if we put on another one. Let's just leave it alone. I think that was one part of it, but I also think the other part of it is that these types of events, unless these major companies have full control over them, there's too much risk associated with them, like showcasing something.
Yeah, that's shit.
Yeah, that's shit, or just making a bunch of promises and that now they're caught on camera saying that they were going to do X, Y, Z and they didn't do it. So I think now the move is going to be a lot of these big, like Microsoft, Activision, they're going to have their own
things,
events, where they control the narrative, they control what they put out.
That might be better, honestly.
It's just the way that things are going to have to go.
Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, it's like, you know, all these studios really strive to get E3 to contact them and say, hey, we want the trailer for this at our next show. And it speaks a lot. I mean, these people, there's definitely a sense of urgency there, you know, first and foremost. And I think that's why what you were just saying about getting these bad or these promises of these games, and then 3 years passes, you either hear nothing or the game's in a fucking terrible state.
Yeah.
It does a lot to these companies.
Or even like I think about one of the most egregious examples of that, which was No Man's Sky.
Oh my God.
Remember No Man's Sky?
Yes.
Do you remember that original like preview of No Man's Sky?
That was the next game.
You were like, this is it. We won't have to ever play another
anything
game
else.
Again. Procedurally generated? What? Like, yeah. And it comes out and it's totally just not impressive.
It's just it was off of the first initial drop. It was just copy and paste of planets, and I also heard that a lot of the planets had no life, which is fine. That is at least realistic, at least, you know, to our lives, because here we are on Earth. Where's the other life on any other planet we know about? You know what I mean? So that part I understand, but they said it was happening so often to the point where the game became unplayable, and just there was a lot of bugs, a lot of things weren't fixed. But that was one also, as bad of an example as that is to have at E3. I give No Man's Sky a lot of credit because that is the best example for me to give somebody of a game that turns itself around.
Yeah, I have heard that too. No Man's Sky's credit. They did do a lot of updates and fixes to the game, and apparently it has a really robust community now, and there are people that play the fuck out of it. So hey, I mean, everything kind of has to crawl before it walks, right? Like you need baby steps, but that kind of speaks to our point of like, don't fucking release it then.
If it's not ready, it's not ready.
Yeah, like I just don't understand why it takes me 2 years to play a game that's been out. You know.
Yeah.
Another perfect example is fucking Cyberpunk. Like, why? Okay, we're happy that it's playable.
Yeah.
Now. I don't want to play it.
I don't want to play it now. We're what, 2 years past that?
Yeah, like what?
Like, again, CD Projekt Red, credit to you guys for not just trashing the game and saying to hell with all you fans. I'm very glad, and I'm a little bit impressed to see that you guys actually went through that much and still made sure to provide what these players wanted. I'm so happy for that, but you guys have no excuse for that. Look at the games on your guys' titles to actually show what you guys have made and are capable of making. For you guys to release Cyberpunk in the state that it was, it's kind of sad. I mean, we're talking shameful. Performance issues on a console, I understand. On PC, though, an unplayable game.
You know what? I don't understand. I don't understand why I bought a $500 console and now I have to wait a year for the game that I wanted to play to be fixed enough for me to play it. I actually don't understand that. And we didn't used to deal with that. We used to not accept that shit. So, like, I hate when we get into this thing of, like, oh, well, the development is going to take the... Then don't release it.
Don't even tell us about how long it's going to take. Keep us in the dark. Don't even mention anything about a new game in production. Just don't do it.
I've tried so many times. I've gotten so close on the Xbox Marketplace of buying Cyberpunk, and I'm just like, nah. No. Because if they actually gave a fuck, they would have made it good for when I wanted to play it. Now it's like, what if I play this game and it's all right, but then there's another fix, you know, a year later. It's like, oh, well, you should have started playing it then. It's like, no, I want the game to
like
work
a
when
game
I want
of fucking catch up.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I mean, I don't know. Supposedly there's rumors going around that they're going to be this will be something that makes me want to play it. I'll be honest. There is a rumor going out that they're going to be adding multiplayer to the game.
Now I'll play it.
Not like I don't think it's going to be like a matchmaking type multiplayer, like a co-op, like you and your boys.
I'd play it then.
Yeah, I for sure would, because I've honestly, I will be honest, I've seen a lot of clips that have made me want to play it, of like how people play the game, just a run through down the random ass things. And I'm like, damn, this is actually really good. It looks good. It's smooth. Everything checks out. But I'm going to wait. I don't mind waiting, because there's games that I played now from my childhood that I never played then that I still have fun with playing. Old, outdated games that are still awesome. So who's to say the same won't happen for Cyberpunk with me? Very true.
And you know, there are games that age like wine. Like,
yes.
You know, there are games that you appreciate more and more as time goes on. I think Dead Space is a great example of that. Like, Dead Space is over 10 years old, but I would any day of the week play the new re-release, because it's just aged so well.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible gaming experience. So, yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't know, though. Cyberpunk, the other thing that I'm kind of picky about is if I'm supposed to be playing like the whole new gen kind of, oh, this is all new graphics engine, new physics engine. Why is it when I look at the game, it still kind of reminds me of like Deus Ex? From the Xbox One. You know, I need something. If it's gonna be, if you're marketing it as, oh, this is the super immersive, lifelike thing, then give me a next gen example, like something that I couldn't find in another console.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about rendering speed or the fact that it's in 60 FPS. I get that that's a big deal.
No loading screens.
Yeah, like I get that that's cool. Sure, but I'll take a loading screen if like when I drive past a building, it's not just like a blank like you know, window. If I could maybe look into the window and there's like something going on, or even just like a little bit more detail, you know, that it justifies, again, a $500 new console.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of these newer releases, is that I'm not seeing the envelope get pushed in like the actual direction
that it should be.
We've been promised that it was supposed to push in. Like, I'm not crazy. They told us we were going to have, you know, lifelike cities in this new Unreal Engine. Remember when they showed you the, what's it called? Superman demo?
Oh, bro.
Where's that?
Yeah, where's that game at? What about the Matrix demo?
The Matrix demo. Where's the...
What are we doing?
So that's why it's like, so then I see that, and then I see Cyberpunk, and I see Cyberpunk keeps getting updated, but it still doesn't look like a next gen, like something where I'm like, wow, that looks lifelike.
Like you can just walk around in the game and look at shit,
Yeah.
and be taken away by that alone.
You know, and then they want to tell you, oh, it is that game, right? Then the lies start, right? Like, oh, it's so immersive, it's so this. Man, I'm so tired.
Might have to go ring some necks.
I'm so tired of these people, man.
I know, man.
And it's just the people who play it then eat it up. So then these developers don't feel like they actually need to deliver anything.
That's literally the state that we are in right now. There is the exception of a good amount of titles, but for the most part, what should be considered a AAA title, that's the state we're in right now.
It's crazy. So I'm just waiting for a new release. There was something I was gonna look up actually that was getting released in the summertime. Let me see. Tell them where they can find us down.
You guys, as always, come check us out. You guys can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all under the handle 2 Detroit Nerds. YouTube. I didn't mention YouTube. Wow, how stupid am I? Come check us out. We have everything that a nerd would be interested, every single thing down to the little last detail. Come check us out, you guys. I mean, come comment on our videos, come engage with us. You know, we don't see too many fans, and right now it's really picking up. We want to see more of you guys come in, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, any of those things. Come engage with us. We're friendly over here. Unless you want us to not be friendly, then, you know, we can turn it up a notch. We don't mind. You guys see the Detroit tag in the name, so
it's in the name.
Don't get it twisted out here.
You
okay,
know where you can find us.
You know where you can find us. Come looking for us in Detroit. You'll see us. Okay, for sure.
I think it may have been the new Final Fantasies that I was seeing. There was some new game that was coming out in a couple of months where I was like, all right, I got something to look forward to.
Yeah,
like, I can't fucking find it right now.
Is it that?
No. You know what game? Actually, you're not even gonna, because you don't like racing games. But hey,
I do a little bit.
Somebody comment on this. This is probably gonna be a clip. Who's excited for the new Test Drive? Did you ever play Test Drive Unlimited?
Never.
Oh my god.
On the Wii?
No, Test Drive Unlimited. It may have been on the Wii.
I thought you said on the Wii. I was gonna be very surprised hearing that from you.
No. I don't play. We don't do those things.
Whoa. Slow down. Don't shit on Nintendo like that, bro.
But GameCube is lit. But
yeah. So is Switch.
But then I turned 18 and I stopped playing.
Good one.
Nintendo. Anyways, the cool thing about Test Drive, and this was a 360, like very early release on 360. It had a massive open world. Still to this day.
Oh wow.
One of the most massive open racing worlds. It was so massive, I couldn't really play Need for Speeds or games like that, because they claim to be open world, but then you can get around the whole world in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not really open world, because Test Drive set this standard, if you played it, of like literally the entire island of Oahu in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You could drive literally like mile for mile around the entire island, like in the same to scale.
That's wild.
So it would take you, they had a race in the game that you could win the most money on the race, but even if you place third place, you'd still win a ton of money, because it took I think 4 hours or something.
Dude, that's nuts.
To play, because it was around the entire island, and I never actually played that race, but I just remember you could drive off road into. I mean, it wasn't designed to drive into the jungle, but you could.
Yeah.
And it had such a dope soundtrack. Like the music was very jazzy, kind of 70s Hawaiian type music. It was just so cool. And of course, you could customize your cars. You could buy houses. You could buy clothes for your guy. It was kind of had a little bit of a GTA thing in it.
Okay.
But it
without the violence.
Without the violence. It's basically if you don't want any violence, but you still kind of want GTA, but with supercars and I guess GTA supercars, but whatever. But it was incredible. I played so many hours of Test Drive Unlimited, and then they came out with Test Drive Unlimited 2 that was on the island of Ibiza. Okay. And it was just a little bit. They didn't add enough to it. It was kind of almost like a DLC. It could have been at for Test Drive Unlimited, but this new Test Drive is supposed to be in Hong Kong, and it's going to be. And if the whole point of Test Drive is that they get really detailed, with the areas they choose. Okay, and it's been in development for so long. I think 2 years ago was one of the last times it was mentioned, but they're saying that it's going to be released sometime this year. Yeah, they haven't set an exact date. But I'm Hong Kong next gen graphics, supercars, I'm in. That's all you need to tell me.
Yeah, who needs to go to China now? I can just play Test Drive.
Right. It's better than going to China.
No, that's actually again, I'm not the biggest racing game fan, but that's promising because I don't feel like racing games really have made too much noise, with the exception of like Forza.
Right.
And I think the newest Need for Speed that came out sounds exactly like that.
Okay.
I've seen my brother play it multiple times, and it like super in-depth customization of the cars, and the entire game is open world.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it's actually I don't know the exact name for the kind of game, but it's like those always online type of games where the world is always online.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And like you can literally be driving and random motherfuckers can come and ram you and like do all this other shit. So that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, Test Drive actually I think pioneered that. If you had Xbox Live, remember this
360.
days, you could at any time, because it was the same map that everybody was sharing, and at the time like they couldn't actually hit you, like they would go through you.
Face it,
they were like invisible, or not invisible, but whatever. But if you initiated them, then they join into your server.
That's dope.
So it was actually, compared to how things are now, it was actually a very
smooth,
ahead of its time, very integrated way of like keeping the online offline thing going. Man, fucking some games are so ahead of their time.
They really were, bro. And it's crazy to get that early release like at the times that we have, and never like with certain titles and certain studios never surpass that. How?
If you would have told me when I was in 9th grade or 10th grade, right, that like, okay, Gears of War 2 just came out, Call of Duty 4 is out, and somebody just like, I come out of a time machine, my present self talks to my past self and is like, this is as good as it's going to get. I wouldn't be lying. No. If I said that to myself in 2012, 2013, I'd be like, the games you're playing right now, this is it.
Yeah. Enjoy. And you know, that could have saved us from these years of depression, being nerds in the gaming, you know? It
really could have. We wouldn't have signed, that contract for our souls that started this whole podcast. We wouldn't have done any of that. We would have probably just put down the video games midway through high school, picked up our jobs as anesthesiologists. And
we'd have been saving the world one person at a time.
That would have been it.
Here we are. Yeah. Thanks, gaming. Holding us back in our lives, Thank you guys. We fucking love you guys for that. But
poison.
It is poison, bro, and it's insane. What else did I see? Oh man, there is a game that just dropped that looks very promising to me.
Okay.
It's called Dragon's Dogma 2. Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard of it. What's significant about it again?
I've only seen so little of it, and the world looks super immersive for the style game. It's an RPG, and here's a reference. One of the clips that I seen was somebody's playthrough of the game. They're running across this like open area, and there is
like you need baby steps, but that kind of speaks to our point of like, don't fucking release it then.
If it's not ready, it's not ready.
Yeah, like I just don't understand why it takes me 2 years to play a game that's been out,
Yeah.
Another perfect example is fucking Cyberpunk. Like, why? Okay, we're happy that it's playable.
Yeah.
Now. I don't want to play it.
I don't want to play it now. We're what, 2 years past that?
Yeah, like what?
Like, again, CD Projekt Red, credit to you guys for not just trashing the game and saying to hell with all you fans. I'm very glad, and I'm a little bit impressed to see that you guys actually went through that much and still made sure to provide what these players wanted. I'm so happy for that, but you guys have no excuse for that. Look at the games on your guys' titles to actually show what you guys have made and are capable of making. For you guys to release Cyberpunk in the state that it was, it's kind of sad. I mean, we're talking shameful. Performance issues on a console, I understand. On PC, though, an unplayable game.
You know what? I don't understand. I don't understand why I bought a $500 console and now I have to wait a year for the game that I wanted to play to be fixed enough for me to play it. I actually don't understand that. And we didn't used to deal with that. We used to not accept that shit. So, like, I hate when we get into this thing of, like, oh, well, the development is going to take the... Then don't release it.
Don't even tell us about how long it's going to take. Keep us in the dark. Don't even mention anything about a new game in production. Just don't do it.
I've tried so many times. I've gotten so close on the Xbox marketplace of buying Cyberpunk, and I'm just like, nah. No. Because if they actually gave a fuck, they would have made it good for when I wanted to play it. Now it's like, what if I play this game and it's all right, but then there's another fix, a year later. It's like, oh, well, you should have started playing it then. It's like, No, I want the game to
Like
work
a
when I
game
want
of fucking catch up.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I
Hell
mean,
no.
I don't know. Supposedly, there's rumors going around that they're going to be. This will be something that makes me want to play it. I'll be honest. There is a rumor going out that they're going to be adding multiplayer to the game.
Now I'll play it.
Not like a. I don't think it's going to be like a matchmaking type multiplayer, like a co-op, like you and your boys.
I'd play it then.
Yeah, I for sure would. Because I've honestly, I will be honest. I've seen a lot of clips that have made me want to play it, of like how people play the game, just a run through down the like random ass things. And I'm like, damn, this is actually really good. It looks good. It's smooth. Everything checks out. But I'm gonna wait. I don't mind waiting because there's games that I played now from my childhood that I never played then that I still have fun with playing. Old, outdated games that are still awesome. So who's to say the same won't happen for Cyberpunk with me?
Very true. And you know, there are games that age like wine. Like,
yes.
You know, there are games that you appreciate more and more as time goes on. I think Dead Space is a great example of
Yes.
that. Like, Dead Space is over 10 years old, but I would any day of the week play the new re-release because it's just aged so well.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible gaming experience. So, yeah, I mean, I get that. I don't know, though. Cyberpunk, the other thing that I'm kind of picky about is if I'm supposed to be playing, like, the whole new gen kind of, this is all new graphics engine, new physics engine. Why is it when I look at the game, it still kind of reminds me of like Deus Ex? From like the Xbox One. You know, I need something. If it's gonna be, if you're marketing it as this is the super immersive lifelike thing, then give me a next gen example, like something that I couldn't find in another console.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about rendering speed or the fact that it's in 60 FPS. I get that that's a big deal.
No loading screens.
Yeah, like I get that that's cool. Sure, but I'll take a loading screen if like when I drive past a building, it's not just like a blank like you know window. If I could maybe look into the window and there's like something going on, or even just like a little bit more detail, you know, that it justifies again a $500 new console.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of these newer releases, is that I'm not seeing the envelope get pushed in like